Welcome to the Blood Saves channel. Wherever you are in the world, I welcome you in. Sitting in your car, driving around, or at work, checking me out on your 3G or 4G or 5G, all-seeing eye device, I welcome you in. Or maybe you're sitting in your submarine with your feet propped up with a glass of pop with hex in it. Sitting off the coast of our continent somewhere in the ocean, I welcome you in also. But maybe you are where some people call the best seat in the house, bar none. Checking me out via the worldwide software, I welcome you in. Wherever you are in the world, I welcome you in. We're in between what I call Illuminati events right now. And those are those staged events that don't just happen. Nothing just happens. They're made to happen. And those are those staged events that are pushing us more and more towards, well, throwing out the old empire and creating this new empire that's already is in place. It just hasn't been empowered yet, but will be soon. But I don't expect this lull in between Illuminati events we're experiencing to last very long. As well as the changing of our laws. We're in a pause mode right now, but we're on the verge of changing some mighty big laws. You know, it's your constant attacks of fear and subtle brainwashing. If it happens in politics, you better believe it was planned. They're constantly reminding you of just who is in charge of man's progress here on earth and who are the only ones that are capable of making the big decisions for the rest of us. I tell you here and now, the elites have a plan, a dream, a quest, a must-achieve at all and any cost goal in mind for this planet and all of mankind, including you and I. It's known as the Great Work. This plan calls for a fascist-style, one-world government replete with an elite bloodline family who claim they are half man, half gods and goddesses, firmly implanted as the rulers of the rest of the world's population because they are enlightened and that is the rightful place to lead. I believe that the bloodline has been in power since the days of Babylon. I believe that the bloodline is from the house of Cain, but who are in fact masquerading around as the descendants of the house of David, making this bloodline related to Jesus Christ, but do not worship the God of Abraham, but instead worship Lucifer, their god of light, at the head. The Merovingians, they thrive on deception. A bloodline said to have come from a sea creature. The name? Merovi, a semi-supernatural creature worthy of classical myth. Merovi was said to have been born of two fathers. When already pregnant with King Claudio, she went swimming in the ocean and was raped or seduced by a sea creature similar to a Kinatar. Basically, that's the king of Atlantis. Ancient Cornish and Welsh legends holds that Merovi's mother was a beautiful princess and her father was a creature from the sea. And may I draw your attention to the flag of Wales? The red dragon as their flag, a reptile. Wales was where Prince William was conceived, and who I think will be the next King of England. Now you see where I'm going with this? Merovee, said to have descendants of the Circampians, who are in fact the Sumerians. Now these were not, I repeat, not from the tribe of Judah or Levi, as the British royals are trying to claim. I believe they are from the tribe of Dan, masquerading as a line of Judah. The tomb of Childreth I, son of Merovee, which would have been one of the first kings, all time. His tomb was found opened in 1653, and they found an incredible find. 300 miniature bees made of solid gold. Now bees represents something that's worshipped in the ancient mystery Egyptian religion, which is where the Illuminati are coming from. That's their religion. Bees were said to be gods and worshipped because of the sweetness of the honey, of course, but more importantly, how the hive was run, with the queen bee and all underneath serving her, including drone bees that were bred for certain specific jobs and your worker bees that were bred for certain types of jobs. This is how the Illuminati will recreate the New World Order, ran much like a beehive, with royalty at the very peak. People will be engineered to do specific jobs, much like in a test tube. The ability to be able to procreate will be taken away from some, and the world will be fashioned very much like a beehive. Napoleon had these 300 golden bees sewn to his coronation robe when he crowned himself and married Mary Louise of Austria. You see, the Habsburgs believe they are descendants of Mary Magdalene and Christ, the bloodline who said to have grown to be the royal houses of Europe today. Bees provide an important clue to the lineage of the Merovingian dynasty. In ancient Babylonia and ancient Egypt, bees represented royalty, as it did in France in the time of Charlemagne. La fleur de lis of France, that symbol isn't really a flower or a lily at all, but is a stylized bee. The province of Quebec also has this symbol. The honeybee is a symbol of Lower Egypt and Pharaoh's title as king. Knighted means he who belongs to the bee. That's what knighted means. The bee is a symbol of Neith, the mother of gods, of whom Pharaoh was said to be descendant from. The honeybee is mentioned in a scroll of the Orient. The honeybee is mentioned in the Talmud. The honeybee is mentioned in the Torah and the Quran, the Bible, the Book of Mormon, and are symbols of gods and deities in each single one. In the Mormons' religion, the bee represents the ideal society, a symbol of soul and chastity. A blue bee, resting on a lotus flower, is the symbol of Vishnu, the Indian god, known as the Preserver. In Christian tradition, the bee was a symbol of Christ, of his forgiveness. It's also an ancient Minoan symbol of the soul. The bee, in all nations, all ages, has been a symbol of masonry. For this reason, the kings of France, both pagans and Christians alike, masons, carry 3 bees for their arms. The bee for a mason is a symbol of being industrious, and the beehive is a symbol of industry, given in the 3rd degree of masonry. Samson, a Nazarite, the tribe of Dan, and a tribe of Cain member, judged Israel in the period of the Philistine domination. He married a Philistine woman, remember? And at this marriage, Samson proposed a riddle. Out of the eater came forth meat. Out of the strong came forth sweetness. Out of the eater came forth meat. Out of the strong came forth sweetness. And notice I said that twice. Samson's bride badgered him to reveal this riddle, and he finally acquiesced, capitulated, gave in to her and to her people the interpretation of this riddle, that the carcass of a young lion that Samson had killed with his bare hands attracted a swarm of bees who produced honey inside the animal's dead body. Samson paid the wager by slaying 30 Philistines, and after that they took his new wife away from him, which angered him even more, so he avenged himself and by slaughtering many more Philistines and eventually the Philistine lords. There are prophecies in the Bible that point to the fact that the tribe of Dan will produce the Antichrist. In context of these prophecies, Samson's riddle is a prophecy that the descendants of the tribe of Dan will one day try to destroy the tribe of Judah in jealous revenge for God's judgment on their idolatry. From the carcass of a young lion, which represents Judaism, the tribe of Dan, represented by the bees, will one day attempt to produce a golden age, symboled by honey, which is of a golden color. The Notre Dame Cathedral that burned down not too long ago. Now you know why I said the riddle twice. The Merovingians, who plan to rule the world from their future throne, which will be set up in Jerusalem, but the real spiritual center will be in Glastonbury, England, claim to come from the tribe of Judah through Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene's children. But that's a bastard, blatant lie. The weight of evidence indicates that they descended from the tribe of Dan. The Bible even states it. Judges 13 verses 2 in the King James Version of the Bible. To connect the Merovingians to the house of David, his lineage supposedly also includes the Messianic tribe of Judah. Samson, the Superman hero, came from the tribe of Dan, but his mother was from Judah, the goddess bloodline. Samson, in some respects, was considered a forerunner of the Messiah, who will come from Judah, it was said but his mother, according to the Midrash, his mother was from the tribe of Dan. There were 3 barren women in the Bible. They were the mother of Samson. I can't find any name for her. Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, and Hannah, the mother of Samuel. 3 barren women in the Bible. 1721 BC, the tribe of Dan began migration from Israel to Sparta, then to Troy. This is the Merovingian bloodline. Into Europe, then they became the Merovingian nobility. So we have the migration of the tribe of Dan after having been pushed out of their territory west of Jerusalem. They went north into Lebanon. The story is all found in the King James Version of the Bible in Judges chapter 18. Because, you see, the Illuminati are going to follow the King James Bible to the letter, which they rejigged to show the world that they are God's leaders. According to the chapter, the tribe of Dan established an idolatrous religion, the worship of the sun and the moon. The summation of their move is given in the book of Judges, which goes this way. And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name Dan, their father, who is born under Israel. But the name of the city was Laish at first. And the children of Dan set up the graven image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, and the son of Messana, and he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan. Until the day of captivity of the land, written in Judges 29:30. According to the story, the tribe of Dan moved into Lebanon, where they lived at least the next 600 years, and in the year 721 BC, the Assyrians took the northern 10 tribes captive. So Dan was the rejected tribe of Israel, the 13th tribe. They're known as the judgers in the end time. It will be from the tribe of Dan, from where the Antichrist will come. Now, through the centuries, some of them migrated across the Aegean Sea to build the city of Troy, and later moved down to a place near the Danube River, and they called it Kimroi, which means Red King. There's your Rothschilds. Here's your red line from Roth to Ruth right now. They want to connect themselves to Ruth. That's why they call themselves Rothschilds. It's the banking cabal. You can see their kids at night on talk shows with their little bracelets. The tribe of Dan originally was given the symbol of Scorpio, which in the ancient Egypt zodiac is a snake. What else? Samael, the snake. The Garden of Eden, the reptile. However, when it came time to hoist the symbol of the snake for the tribe of Dan, the leader, Aiezer, refused. And you know what he chose instead? The symbol of an eagle. What better way to hide the tribe of Satan than with a snake eater, an eagle? Dan's position in the journey was on the north of the tabernacle, with Asher and Naphtali. The standard of the tribe was of a white and red, the original colors of Lower and Upper Egypt, Mm-hmm. And the crest was an eagle, the great enemy to serpents, which had been chosen by the leader instead of a serpent because Jacob compared Dan to a snake. Genesis 49. Aezer substituted the eagle, the destroyer of serpents, as a shrank from carrying an adder upon his flag. He didn't want to have his true colors shown, in other words. It may prove worthwhile to consider the possibility whenever a connection is made between the tribe of Dan and the eagle, when a leader or a nation has an eagle. So many nations have used the eagle. The Greeks, the Romans, the French, all the empires of Europe, the Germans, including ancient Iraq, Poland, the United States, and also Imperial Rome. But after Constantine divided that empire, a two-headed eagle evolved. One looking east, one looking west, and if you notice on the crest of the Russian heraldic emblem, one looking west, one looking east, to take on the whole world, looking in both directions. A symbol, like a flag, is a power-controlling device. We have them on our clothes, our favorite sports teams. When somebody sees his favorite sports team logo, he goes nuts. He has an affinity for that symbol. Occultists believe that the symbols of the wise become the ignorance of the multitude when a symbol is designed to be understood only by the initiate alone. And the power of the symbol increases when the person doesn't understand its meaning. The demonic power of the symbol becomes especially potent when so-called God lovers wear them and don't understand their meaning. Satan is causing people to worship him without even realizing it. Ancient Babylonia is resurfacing ever so fast. The line is blurring ever so fast. The novice today doesn't even know what to think. The six-pointed star that Solomon adopted is probably the most occult of all symbols. The hexagram is worn as a charm by countless people, naively believing that it's a lucky charm or a blessing on themselves. But in fact, the exact opposite is true. The symbol, when displayed on a person, brings with it powerful curses leading to spiritual and moral degeneration and physical sickness if you continually use it. Soon, Lucifer is going to unite his worshippers with a mark, just like it says in Revelation 13, because we know they are going to follow the King James Bible to the letter, to prove to everyone that they are leaders. Once sealed with the mark of the beast, the eternal fire is also sealed to your destiny. Now, a lot of people think that the mark of the beast will be an implantable chip. And although the chip is already used in many parts of the world, I think it's going to be used for only the beginning of the tribulation. And halfway through, that will change. You see, there are three important sources which proves the chip doesn't fulfill the scriptural requirements for the mark of the beast. And you know, the Illuminati are going to meticulously follow the King James Bible to the letter. Now the King James Version, although way better than most versions, doesn't always follow the Textus Receptus. That is the received Greek text of the New Testament. The verses mentioning the mark of the beast are different in each one. The received text, the Textus Receptus as it's known, states that the mark of the beast will be placed on, not in the hand, or on, not in the forehead. The George Wicker Berry Interlinear Greek, English New Testament, Textus Receptus again, which is based on the Greek text of Stevens from 1550, reads this way in the 3 verses that mention the mark of the beast. Revelation 3, 16 through 18, and it causes all small and great, and the rich, and the poor, and the free, and the bondman, that it should give them a mark on their right hand, or on their foreheads, and that no one should be able to buy or sell except for he who has the mark or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. He who has understanding, calculate the number of the beast, for it is a man, and that number, well, of course, it's 666. Revelation 14:10 reads this way in the Greek text. And a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone does homage to the beast and its image, and receives a mark on his hand or on his forehead, also he shall drink of the wine of the fury of God, which is mixed undiluted in the cup of the wrath. And he shall be tormented in fire and brimstone before the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment goes up to ages of ages. And they have no rest but day and night. And I saw thrones, and they who sat upon them, and judgment was given to them. And the souls of those who were to be beheaded on account of their testimony of Jesus, and on account of the word of God, and those that did not do homage to the beast and his image, nor receive the mark upon the right hand or upon their foreheads. And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. 2 little words, on and upon, reject the digital angel by Verichip that goes in. Another source that says that the mark is placed on is Strong's Concordance. Strong Concordance states that the Greek word for the mark in all Bible verses you just heard is charagma or charagma, whatever you want to pronounce it. Strong's Concordance defines this word as a stamp that's planted on, branded, or engraved on the hand. You know, Satan is going to want you to worship him in plain sight. The chip just does not fit. The third source, which disqualifies the implantable chip, is after the 7th trump, half the world's population is decimated, along with the technology with it. Because it goes back to Atlantis. You see, it's going to be phallics and pyramids and ley lines that are going to be doing the technology. You see, they want to bring back the Golden Age, the age of Atlantis. But first, they must destroy the old world. And during the first half of the tribulation, I do believe they will use the microchip, but that will be a counterfeit mark to deceive the masses. Think about it. First, a false Antichrist. And then, the real Antichrist. First, false mark of the beast, and then the real mark of the beast. The world is going to be forced into a system of barter and exchange. The microchip just seems very bulky to me, very dinosaur age. Feels like a 1930s idea. The six-pointed star and other variations of the 666 motif will be tattooed on those who give their allegiance to Satan. An electronic ink is already invented for this task. I don't know if you're aware of this, but tattoos are an ancient tradition of pagan initiation rites. That's why a tattoo fits so well. A tattoo bonds the initiate with the entity symbolized by the tattoo. It makes him able to communicate with that demonic power. A tattoo defines the mark as a permanent initiation and gives a position of permanent prayer to and identification to evil powers. The means of communication with that occult god. It then becomes a badge of obligation to that god or that creature. Scorpions, eagles, snakes. Satan is going to bond the initiate in a sacred marriage rite, the satanic equivalent of the marriage of the Lamb to his bride. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all been done before. So, if you don't know where you came from, then you won't know where you are. And you won't know where you're going tomorrow. You see, the world changed because of one day. It's like September 10th was the old world. September 11th began the new world. Rebellion is not new. The goal of the Illuminati? Abolish all ordered government. Abolish all power to private property. Abolish all inheritance. Abolish all patriotism. Abolish all parts of family, marriage, and moral institutions. And finally, abolish all religions and install Luciferianism. I say this to myself often. If the First and Second World War soldiers knew what became of this world after those two wars, they would go, no, I'm not going to war. I'm not going to go fight in vain. All the freedoms they fought for are slowly being taken away. The decisions are made behind closed doors, and they are pushed to our politicians. The rights of Congress are being stripped. Do you want to be a member of the New World Order? Basically, a plan to split the world into 10 nations. One of them is almost complete. It's the European Union. A few more tweaks. But that's where the false peacemaker will come from. Oh, this 10-nation confederacy, planned by the Club of Rome, is about to pounce on the entire world and take it under its auspices. Because they can. And they will. This has been a view from the Blood Saves, and I'm out.